Welcome to Empowered Shadows Podcast. I am your host, Wolfie, and today's episode is brought to you by a viewer's question. It's not the first time I received this question, and from my personal experience and due to the repetition of the question, I decided to make it an episode. So, hope you enjoy. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. If it resonates with you, I would love to read about it in the comments. I know on a healing journey, it could be a bit lonesome or overwhelming, and I hope my presentation gives you the calm wisdom you need without the fluff. You can support my channel by liking, sharing, and subscribing. All the information you need to contact me or to follow my socials is in the description box below. If you'd like to donate to my channel, that information is also below. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. The most expensive thing you own isn't money. It's empathy. Empathy is the most misunderstood weapon. People call it softness, niceness, weakness, but empathy is none of those. Empathy is the ability to feel what another feels, to carry someone else's storm in your nervous system, to walk into a room and sense the rage hiding behind the smiles, to leave a conversation and realize your body is holding their grief. That's empathy, not imagination. And in the wrong hands, it becomes a leash. When abuse triggers awakening, here's the paradox. The same abuse that shattered you also cracked you open. Gaslighting forced you to trust your inner compass. Manipulation trained you to read energy like scripture. Being drained forced you to ask what's mine and what isn't. That questioning, that desperation to survive, that was your awakening. Your empathy sharpened. It stopped being fragility. It became discernment. And you begin to realize not everyone deserves access. The hollow ones. This is where the predators enter. The emotional vampires. They don't just want your attention. They want your bloodstream. They pierce your field like fangs into a vein. They hook into your sacral like a feeding tube. They turn your nervous system into their portable battery. Your laughter becomes their camouflage, your compassion, their cover, your steadiness, their stolen spine. And here's the trap. They don't just feed, they reprogram you. When you collapse from exhaustion, they call you lazy. When your body resists the drain, they call you dramatic. When you cry from carrying their chaos, they call you too sensitive. When you set boundaries, they call you selfish. Until you believe it. Until you cut off empathy for yourself. Until you starve while they feast. That's the darkest theft. Not just your energy, but your ability to protect your own soul. Why they steal your energy. Your empathy is liquid gold. It is divine currency. It flows like water, but fuels like fire. It is the one thing predators cannot generate. They can mimic charm. They can fake kindness. They can rehearse intimacy, but they cannot create empathy. So they do what all thieves do. They steal it. Your empathy funds them. It funds their identity. They borrow your compassion to look human. It funds their power. They stabilize their emptiness with your death. It funds their survival. They regulate their rage and their hollowness by plunging into your nervous system. This is why narcissists and dark triad predators are willing to traumatize you for it. Because wounded empathy bleeds faster. Confused empathy is easier to harvest. Isolated empathy has nowhere else to flow. They aren't just stealing attention. They are stealing the most expensive thing you own. And when you stop letting them drink it, they starve. The pursuit. The hollow ones don't just stumble into your life. They hunt you. They study you. They mirror your words, your wounds, your rhythms. They mimic your language until it feels like alignment. But alignment is the bait. They infiltrate your spaces, slipping into your friend groups, attaching themselves to your communities, positioning themselves so escape feels impossible. If they pursue you, it isn't for love. It's for access. Access to your empathy. Access to your sacral current. Access to the light they cannot generate. And they will do insidious things to secure it. They will merge with you, your circle, until exile feels like losing everyone. They will create crises to force you into contact. They will whisper guilt until you hand them your empathy like tribute. And some, they don't just mirror you. They attempt to become you, to trade places, to wear your essence like skin, to siphon your sacral until you are hollow. And they are walking around alive with your fire. That is not attraction. That is possession. A feeding so deep, it feels like theft of your soul. The principality. Understand this. Empathy theft isn't just personal, it's spiritual. It can come through anyone. A parent, a sibling, a lover, a best friend, a coworker, even a pastor. See, that's the deception. You expect violation to wear a villain's face, but spiritual violation often wears the face of the familiar. Because this is bigger than personality. This is principality. A greater enemy working through a host. A darkness that knows it cannot create life force, so it recruits people to harvest yours. That's why it feels so violating. Because it's not just them. It's what's moving through them. And when empathy is stolen, it doesn't just feed a person. It funds a system. It bankrolls patterns. It keeps whole structures alive that were built to keep you bound. That is why your empathy is hunted like prey. Because when you wake up and stop feeding parasites, you're not just freeing yourself. You're starving a principality. Healthy empathy, the balance. Here's the part most people miss. Empathy isn't just something you protect. It's something you steward. If you give too much, it drains you. If you give none at all, it withers you. Because the enemy plays both sides. If he can't steal your empathy, it will try to harden you until you bury it, until you starve those who deserve it, until you self-sabotage by withholding the very gold that was meant to build your purpose. So, what does healthy empathy look like? It flows where there is reciprocity, not just need. It leaves you steady, not sick. It restores both giver and receiver. It doesn't require you to betray yourself. It doesn't bankrupt you to enrich someone else's life. Healthy empathy feels like an investment, not robbery. It multiplies in joy and peace and purpose. It returns to you in rest, in gratitude, in alignment. This is the difference. Misused empathy leaves you hollow. Healthy empathy leaves you whole. So don't overgive out of guilt. Don't undergive out of fear. Steward your empathy like liquid gold, because in the right soil, it grows kingdoms. Empathy as a weapon. Your empathy was never a weakness. It was never too much. It is a blade. It cuts illusions. It slices open masks. It detects predators before they strike. When you wield it rightly, it stops being their feast and becomes your fortress. So, let's tie the arc. You learn what empathy is, how trauma tangles it, how abuse sharpens it into awakening. You saw the hollow ones, how they siphon, reprogram, infiltrate. You name empathy as liquid gold. Currency, they'll traumatize you to steal. You saw their pursuit, their possession, their willingness to merge, infiltrate, and wear your essence like skin. You recognize the greater truth. And this is not just people, it's principalities, moving through hosts, feeding systems as much as it feeds individuals. And finally, you remembered the balance to regulate, maintain, honor, to neither overgive nor bury, but to steward empathy as sacred currency. This is the journey from innocence to violation to awakening to sovereignty. You are not fragile. You are fortified. You are not broken. You are reborn. Your empathy is no longer their leash. It is your crown. It is your current. It is your currency. And from this moment forward, you will not waste it. You will not bleed it. You will not let it be siphoned. You will invest it. You will wield it. You will guard it. Because you are not the feast. You are the fire. And nothing feeds on fire. Only light comes from fire. Only power. Only truth. And from this point forward, you burn too bright to ever be consumed again. Wait, hold on. Before you go, hold on. Just... Alright. You made it to this part of the episode. Thank you for staying, remaining, and watching. I want to give you an energetic cleanse with some Palo Santo. Thank you for listening. Thank you for subscribing. Your likes, your shares, your follows, your reposts, all of that is much appreciated. I am Wolfie. This is the Empowered Shadows podcast. And I look forward to chatting with you another time. Take care.